Larry. Good morning.
I've just got a couple questions here.
Sure.
If one professes to be an atheist, does that mean that they're sure that there is no God, or that they are just not sure, and so they're leaning towards the fact that there is not?
No, that's not. That's the Christian idea of what atheism is, that an atheist is a person who says or claims that there is no God. That's not an atheist definition of atheism.
What is the atheist?
Okay, the atheist definition of atheism is a person who lives his life without reference to the supernatural.
And I have a different definition based on the same lines. An atheist is a person who does not have a set or a system of beliefs on or about the supernatural.
And what do you call the supernatural? What does that mean?
Anything that cannot be proven to be existing in reality through whatever method, but if there's absolutely no evidence to even suggest that a God exists, we don't accept it.
Well, okay. Well, I'm just asking questions.
Mm-hmm. That's all right.
I'm just trying to get it. Yeah. Well, then explain to me this. Of course, this could be debatable, but I mean, it has been proven by several different methodologies that mind exists out of time.
Out of time?
Out of time, and.
We're not even sure what time is.
Yeah, do you know what time is?
Well, nobody really knows what time is.
Well,
it reminds me of a
question
song.
Based on a question, then.
But if we were to assume that mind exists out of time, or in other words, it is out of time, let's drop that subject and get on to something more realistic.
Okay.
Like, for instance, like TRV, which is technical remote viewing.
All right.
How does an atheist explain how that works?
What is it?
The scientific studies that they've done on that, and I know do remote viewing. They actually were doing it in the Cold War. They thought Russia were doing it and everything else, and so it's
still going on today. I mean, there's actually companies making a living doing this, gathering information and selling this data. So I mean, it's still going on today.
But they were so vague. The studies I've seen showed that they were so. Once in a while they got lucky and got like this little two lines coming down there, and they're saying this represents a runway. Well, it could be a train tracks or whatever else. So I'm not convinced that they're actually doing remote viewing, and if they're getting paid for it, then more power to them. It's just like these psychic lines; they're getting billions of dollars a year, and I don't believe they're helping anyone. They're just taking money.
So you're saying that all psychics and all psychic phenomena and all technical remote viewing and all the data that comes from that arena is just happenstance?
No, we're not saying that. We're saying that this kind of thing should be looked into using the scientific method to see whether it really is pseudoscience or whether there is some point to it.
I agree with you on that.
And the research I've seen has never proved it. And they just did this with a little girl, 10 years old, got in the AMA over faith healing. How easily that stuff is to disprove. Mm-hmm. And so, but if somebody comes up with something that can survive that, then science will sit down and try to figure out what was about that actually worked, and they will find the answer. We now have the power, the capability to find just about any answer. I think that we set our mind. If we set all our natural money and energy and brain power to the problem, we can actually solve it. And I just want to let you know, I do recognize your voice there, Larry.
Oh, you do?
Yes. And Larry the camel guy?
Oh, no. I've never called your show before. This is the first time I watched it, and I found
you sound just like him, man. No, I'm sorry. I thought you were Larry. Okay.
No, that's okay. That's okay. But let me make sure that I understand what you're saying here. It is what you're saying that the physical proof has precedence over any non-physical proof?
Yes.
And what is non-physical proof? Basically something doesn't exist. So as proof goes, it doesn't work.
Anecdotal evidence is the worst evidence out there.
But wait a minute. But we used to think that magnetism was mysticism.
Right.
I mean, that there is a lot of things that have not been discovered yet that are invisible to us now.
All right.
A lot of those things we didn't have any idea how they work, like magnetism, gravity, things like that for the longest time.
Or radio waves.
But we are slowly finding out the answers to certain questions like these, and we are not finding any religious any supernatural cause of these things. We now know why fire takes place and what the weather, reasoning behind weather is, but none of those things have been attributable to God.
I do appreciate your call, Larry, and please call again.